Frank Ragnow of your Detroit Lions. You are now tuning into the official new hotness, the OnePride podcast presented by ISN. This is your source for all Detroit Lions news, rumors, pre- and post-game day breakdowns. Go Lions.
Hey, what is going on, YouTube, and welcome to Detroit Lions Talk with MicroMike. We talk all things Detroit Lions news, rumors, analysis, breakdown, and everything regarding our franchise. And in today's show, we got the OnePride podcast, and we got a handful of topics we're going to talk about. Obviously, we got some breaking news, folks, that, hey, a player got cut. But before we get in all of this stuff, we got Mark Oram from Oram's Forum. What's going on, Mark?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on for a Thursday, man? Let's do some OPP today, man. Let's talk Lions ball.
Let's talk some Lions football, folks. And I want to make an announcement because we got Antonio Hightower on here, and I think it's the perfect time to do it. Folks, Antonio Hightower, let everybody get a congratulations. Let's get those high fives up. Antonio Hightower, the guy below me, is not going to be on OPP for a couple months. Why? Because he decided to join the Army, and he's going to basic training. What's going on, Antonio Hightower?
Oh, yeah. What's up, guys?
First off, bro, I appreciate you serving your country. And are you excited, man? You excited to go to basic training?
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been ready. I was hoping I'd be able to go like at the beginning of last year, but apparently I couldn't. I was like, just give me the quickest time so I can go.
No doubt about it. And we have a special guest on here today. He's a Detroit Lions YouTuber here, and it's Avery Giovanni, Spirit of Detroit. What's going on, man? And he didn't respond. He's having computer issues, no doubt about it. Let's see the people that's in this building. Let's give a shout out to Ace King, Brandon Walsh. We got Zach J, CJ, Antonio Gio, Snoil OG, Bryce, JGB, haven't seen you in a year. Sheldon McCreary, TA Noble Sports. B. Taylor, what's going on, B. Taylor? Steve-O, Kev'd up. Michael Johnson, Incline, Kev'd. Man, Frog Crop's in the building. Hey, Avery, you in the building? Avery Giovanni, Spirit of Detroit. He is having computer issues. Yeah. Once he gets this fixed, we will introduce you to him. Mark, we had a cut, man. We had a cut. Justin Coleman, what do you think?
Well, we kind of knew this was coming, guys. Mm-hmm. This is another one down, man. Another one with the axe. This saves about $4 million right now if he's cut immediately. It actually save up to about $9 million if they release him after June. So June 1st. So we can get up to a $9 million cut. No point really keeping him on the roster after that. So they might as well keep him. Actually, might as well keep him on the roster until June and just get rid of him June 2nd. So This saves money. This saves money, man. This is more cap room. This is what this team is doing. They are building from the ground up, and we're going to have to get used to this, guys. Starters are going. They are actually hitting the streets, man. Let's go.
Totally expected this move. I did expect Justin Coleman would get released, just like Trufant. What's going on, Chastity, Craig, Jorge, D. Williams, Kevin? If I didn't call you out, it's because I didn't see you. Antonio Hightower. Man, we cut Justin Coleman. Initial thoughts?
I hope they at least try to trade him first. I understand why they cut him, especially with the injury problems. Even though I think he's good enough to play the position, he's had injury problems, and the Lions are kind of running to get as much cap as they want. I understand trading him. I just hope they at least try to. I understand cutting him. I at least hope they tried to get a trade off for him, and that they couldn't. They were just like, okay, so cut him.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you. And our special guest, he is available now, Avery Giovanni. Folks, you see that pinned on the comment section? That is his channel. I literally want everyone, right now we got 51 in the chat. I want everyone to subscribe to his channel. I have a lot of deal respect for this man, and I don't really want to talk about it on here, but just trust me, he's a very respectable dude. What do you think about this cut, Avery?
I love it, man, but I think we knew it was coming. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, so I think we knew it was coming. There was articles like a month back, 2 months back, that if they cut him, they was going to save potential $5 million. There was like 5 Lions they could cut and get to up to like $20 million for. So we knew he was on the way. I think you had said something about it before, and then I had said something about it when I called in. So I'm happy about it. He was never good. He had one game where it was like, oh, if he caught that interception, he would have been, we would have won the game or something. He's just pedestrian, bro. I think so. I think coming from that system in Seahawks, he's just really pedestrian. He just thrives in a system.
And what I was talking about is Daryl Roberts came in here and he actually played pretty good in his spot for the nickel corner. He came in, he was healthy, and he did good. Is that an option they can do there, Avery? Do you think that they could do that, or maybe draft a guy, or what should we do with his empty hole now?
I definitely am pretty high on Farley. I'm pretty high on some of the corners in the draft, but I wouldn't do that at 7. That was you would get Roberts in there and see what he's got, but you really want to draft a corner around the 4th round. I think that you don't want to draft too early because then Okuda might be dead or somebody like that. You want to draft that late because you have other pressing needs.
Wholeheartedly agree with you. Completely agree. What's going on, Tony, Zach, J, Jeff? Go Lions! Back into building. Tim Monroe. Okay, Mark Orm from Orm's Forum. We got another hole to fill. In your opinion, what should we do, man? What should we do with this cornerback position?
Well, we all know that now it's open, guys, and we're going to have guys like Michael Ford, Daryl Roberts. They'll be fighting for this spot, and I'm not really too keen on both those guys. I like those guys for depth, Ford and Roberts. I know Roberts is a real physical corner that plays the run really well. Not too good in pass coverage, but I like his physicality as a corner. He kind of fits that slot mold, I guess. But I'm probably looking towards the draft, guys. Maybe 3rd, 4th round. I still think we have pressing needs before a corner. That's for sure.
100% agree. 100% agree. And Go Lions made a great statement. He says Mike Ford can play the slot. Absolutely. I always liked Mike Ford because he's been a cheap piece, but generally the fact he's done decent given the circumstances. And to me, he was way cheaper than Coleman. Antonio Hightower, we got a hole. What do you think the Lions should do with that corner spot? Antonio Hightower.
Oh, I'm sorry. My headphones are messing up. Can you repeat the question? My headphones are messing up.
What do we do with that hole at that cornerback spot?
We might have drafted a guy. The problem is I don't think there's many slot corners in the draft. There's slot corners in the draft, but I just think most of those guys are either better at outside corner or you're like maybe you can. Well, I do like Mike Ford. I like his athleticism. I don't know how Daryl Roberts would do in that section. You could probably try to hit free agency, see how that works. Maybe they try to mitigate it for like another year and just kind of throw Tracy Walker in that spot. I know Patricia's like to do that a lot. Put Tracy Walker in the slot, kind of like a cornerback. A lot of people did think he was going to be like a cornerback coming out of college. I kind of want to see him trade a guy. I think you could probably get like a guy, Sean Wade. I'm not a big fan of him, but he's athletic, and you could probably get him like real late in the draft. His draft stock's been falling, especially he got destroyed by Devonta Smith in the championship game.
Yeah.
But I think they got so many options to fill the spot right now.
Yeah, I think that with the holes that we have, I think a Daryl Roberts would be perfect. And Tony says, who you guys like in free agency depth at the corner? I'm just saying Daryl Roberts. I think he can do just fine there. Get a cheaper guy, but we got so many freaking holes that I would rather like to put some of that energy in the defensive line and build upon that linebacking core that extremely thin. And Christian Jones was released, folks. I don't know if you've known. This has been one of my favorite things that ever happened. Avery, Christian Jones released. What do we do? What do you think about this release?
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off with the clapping, man, but that had to happen, bro. This dude couldn't tackle. This dude was he was just pedestrian, man. And I'm happy with it. I don't know if you are. Are you happy with it?
Oh, I was singing. I was dancing.
He's very happy.
I literally did. I danced. I sang. I was so happy because I watched this game every single Sunday, and I just felt like the middle was exposed so much. And thanks to Christian Jones as one of the reasons why he really was a detriment
And a
Special,
lot.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. A lot of that comes from coaching, man. I think Patricia was just asking people to do so much, so I really couldn't evaluate the talent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's not him, because when you see talent, you recognize it. You know, you see talent, like you see a stat. Okay, he's got the arm strength. He's got this. When you see this dude, he getting lost in the sauce on the run play. He getting trucked. He a high almost. Him and that dude Myers highlights this year. And Christian Johnson was liability in coverage, man. I mean, when you look at it, it was him and Jared Davis killing us every day, killing us.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. What's going on, Tommy? He says, hey, guys, is it that our players were bad or the coaching makes them look bad? Now, this is a good question. I've been hearing about this all off season. Was it the players that bad, or was it that Patricia was that bad, Mark? I think it was definitely a mixture of both. I think the scheme was terrible. With that said, a scheme doesn't really justify the lack of speed that I've seen on the linebacking core. I mean, these guys were slow. I mean, Tavai was slow. Christian Jones was slow. Do you think just bringing in Dan Campbell and bringing in Aaron Glenn is going to make this defense play better, Mark?
Well, not necessarily. Those guys are going to bring the fire, that's for sure. But like Avery said too, Avery was like, you can recognize talent, right? You see talent, like even guys in a bad scheme, man. Like look at Romeo Aquara. We were in a bad scheme. He shined bright, man. He was the only one who really shined bright in a bad scheme. So that's because he has actual talent. Now, guys like Christian Jones and all that stuff, man, you could see the talent just was gone. Like he was a decent linebacker in Chicago, man. But bringing in new schemes, bringing in new attitude, all that stuff, it does help. But you have to have a guy that's super talented. You have to have guys that can adapt to a new scheme, right? So hopefully we could get those kind of guys that can play various schemes.
You know what else we could do is get those likes up. We got 68 in the building with 34 thumbs up. Let's get those likes up. It's vital. Why? Because that's how you get a video out. That's how you get a live stream out. Look, we're Detroit Lions fans, folks. It's not like the mainstream media likes us. They tend to hate us. We have our former quarterback. They hate him here. He goes to another team. They love him. That's just the way it is. So we got to build it. When it comes to Antonio Hightower, what do you think, man? Scheme, players, defense. What do you got?
I think it's a bit of both, because even last year, I mean, even though this scheme was part of it, I've been saying these linebackers been trash. Last year, even last year, the draft, what was I saying? I was like, man, can we get a Kenneth Murray? Can we get a Willie Gay? Because I knew the linebackers was going to be the one thing that really held back the defense. It was clearly obvious. And I'm surprised they didn't draft one, because in the Patriots scheme, the linebackers are probably the most important thing. They got to be versatile. They got to be able to do multiple things, and they can't do anything. Nothing at all. Yep. Can't cover, can't stop the run, leaving gaps open. I had to watch Danny Shelton and our other DT just dominate the line of scrimmage to even try to stop the run, because the linebackers were running to the wrong gaps the whole game. It was just wild. I think part of it was coaching, because I figured that they would be better at coaching up the linebackers, but and especially the defense as a whole. But it was a real mix of both, because they weren't always in the best position to make plays. But even when they were in the position to make plays, they didn't make plays. It was just a bad mix of both.
Very much facts. And good question by Travis Doyley here. He is a member of mine. He says, what Lions do you keep long-term? I'm going to say mine is Frank Ragnow. I think we got to keep Frank Ragnow long-term, sign him to a long-term deal probably after next season. The guy is one of the best, if not the best centers in the NFL. Good integral piece to this offensive line. We want to run the football. We want to be more physical up front. And he is a big piece to that. Avery, what is a player that you think the Detroit Lions should definitely keep long-term?
I'm a big proponent of, just keep your in-house strong. And I want to see more from Ragnow, obviously, but I want to see more from Tavai, because I would hate to just go off these last 2 years and just be like, he's nothing. I think that he has talent. Yeah. And I think that, blitzing, I've seen a lot from him. I've also seen a lot that was bad. but I think he got something. If a new coach comes in here, when you look at the film, you got athletes on there. You got athletes, but I think Tavai is going to be, especially if they move him outside of 4-3, he's going to be something that we gonna be like, wow, this dude really developed and was really put in positions to win. So moving forward, I really like him, and I like the safety. Tracy Walker, I like them as well. I'm not as high on Tracy Walker, but I think he's a solid safety. He can contribute.
Yeah, I'm with you with the Tracy Walker here, folks. That was Avery Giovanni, Spirit of Detroit Lions. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. It's on the comment section. I pinned it. He's a young and upcoming YouTuber, and he's very respectable. Trust me in that. You got to believe me. And we got Mark Orm, who's trying to get to 1K. He's almost there. Mark, what is a player the Detroit Lions must keep on this team for the long haul?
Well, like I'm a big fan of Ragnow, like you said. I think that's a super easy call, Ragnow for sure. I really like Jonah Jackson, the rookie guard that we brought in last year. Picked him up in the third. Played majority of his college days at Rutgers and had a pretty big year at Ohio State his last collegiate year. I really like him. You got to keep that line in check. You got to keep those guys together. Continuity is pretty good. It's pretty big in the NFL when it comes to the O-line, and it's hard to just keep replacing guys after year. So I think I'm a really big fan of a Jonah Jackson, and like Avery said too, I really like Tracy Walker. He was supposed to have a big year last year. He had a really down year. I think a lot of it did have to do with some scheme, but he needs to step up this year, and I'd really like to see him improve this year.
Hey, I would be asking Troxel who he would want to keep long term. You know, Nick Bawden would come up, no doubt about it, but he's not here to defend himself. Let's talk about free agency, because guess what? Sunday, free agency frenzy begins, and I'm excited as can be about free agency. I don't think we're going to go big, but it is building blocks towards building a depth team, and the team that we kind of want to be more physical, right? A more Dan Campbell-ish type team. Antonio Hightower, what is a player or players, plural, that the Detroit Lions may try to acquire via free agency?
That's a tough question, because the Lions, the Lions have more money, but they still don't have that much money.
They don't have a lot at all. No.
No. Yeah, it's really gonna be tough, because what they got like now, $9 million.
I think it's $9 million. I think so. Yeah, I think so, man.
I would really love them to see to go for Corey Davis.
Yes,
I would love to see him go for Corey Davis. I think you could. I don't think he's done developing yet. You could probably get him for cheap. You probably get him for cheaper. I don't know how much the market is, especially with Kenny. Well, I don't know how much the wide receiver market is going to be. A lot of people, you overpay on the free agent market. That's just how it is. You overpay because you pay the market. I would really love to see them get him, but I don't really have that many guys that I really want the Lions to get, because honestly, if they're not young, I really don't want them like that, to be honest.
Avery, what do you think, man? What some players the Lions can pick up? And it may not be big time names, right? It could be a depth guy. It could be a low risk, high reward type of player that maybe you're paying attention to.
Well, I just got to respond to that last comment. I'm responding to your question for sure, and I thank you for asking it. But your boy Davis is out of the pay grade. He's out of the pay range.
He's like 10, 11 million.
He definitely is.
That's a wrap. I think that Adam Humphries is a good pick. I think that Goff is going to need a security blanket outside of the tight end that we have. Great tight end. But he's going to need a small, shifty wide receiver. Adam Humphries he's 27 years old. He's a young vet. He was cut by the Buccaneers last year, and then he went somewhere else. He went to the Titans. Didn't have a good season there. Got cut again. He's a nice middle of the field guy. You need something like that. And I think Keelan Cole. I'd be a fool if I didn't say Keelan Cole. $6 million to him. And, like you said, I watched your salary cap video, and you hit the nail on the head. We're going to have to find creative ways to get to the most out of what we have.
Mm-hmm.
another YouTuber say I don't want to give him a, but I seen another YouTuber say have a rollover, and I just don't see it right now. I see it maybe after the draft or something like that. Maybe we'll get some money, but I don't see it right now. So we got to stick with cheaper options.
100%. I think we're in obviously rebuild mode. Thus, you're trying to acquire younger players and more of the draft. But there's players out there for depth, right, Mark? I know you were talking about a running back earlier on the side. Is that one of the players you think the Lions are going to acquire?
Yeah, man, I still think they need to address that running back situation. They need a guy that could step in and be that number 2 to DeAndre. So I heard today that they were kind of in talks or just interested in Carlos Hyde. He's a Dan Campbell type guy. He's a little bit old. He's a little bit long in the tooth, man. He's in his 30s. But he is an absolute bruiser when he runs the football. And he's been pretty reliable the last few years, and he'd be really cheap. And I know like a lot of Lions fans, even guys on the panel, like hate that word cheap, but that's just where we're at right now, guys. We don't have any money. We don't have any money, man. You guys got to remember too, man. We have to save money for these rookies, eh? Mm-hmm. And we barely have any. So we have to cut more guys to acquire, to be able to sign these guys. So I'm looking at a guy like, I'd like to bring in a Mike Davis from Carolina, the running back that played at Carolina last year. I think he'd be able maybe $5 million, maybe 5 and change. Could be a little bit more expensive because he did step in pretty nicely last year when McCaffrey went down. But he's a guy that I really like, and I don't mind a Carlos Hyde, man. I like a guy that can run the ball and just, doesn't give to whats, man, and will run you over, man. I like a guy like that. So.
And when it comes to running back position, I want to make this clear in my opinion, is I definitely believe DeAndre Swift's the number 1, and I think he needs to be the focal point of our running game. When we get another running back, I want him to be the change of pace back. I don't want him to be a splitting carries completely with Swift. I think Swift is the number 1 guy, so if they decided to get a cheaper guy like a Hyde, it is totally understandable because they're kind of trying to utilize Swift's advantage here. And we talk about the cap. We are, $9 million above right now. It's approximately $6 million for rookies. You're leaving $3 million there. That's not that big. And I know a lot of people talked about, well, why'd we sign Tyrell Williams? Tyrell Williams' contract is generally a $2 million contract if you break it down. He has to earn up a bonus. He has to earn some of that money, so it's not that big. And what you're seeing is, and what I expect is continue to be probably 1-year deals, cheaper players, and it's going to be underwhelming. It's not going to be like we've seen with the Trey Flowers or the Jesse James. We're going to blow it up. I think it's going to be more of a dudded up. Antonio Hightower. Or Mark, what are you going to say, Mark? Go ahead.
Well, that's the definition of a rebuild, right, Mike? That's the definition of rebuild. Don't spend a lot of money at free agency. Long-term contracts are out of the question. 1 to 2 year guys coming in, and you build through the draft. That's exactly what it looks like they're doing. So you're right, man.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And we still got players they got to cut. Mm-hmm. Antonio Hightower, what is a player you think they're going to cut next? I mean, we got some on the books. We got Williams, we got Jesse James. What do you think?
I think it might be Jesse James, to be honest. I think it might be his time to go. But Nick Williams might be a better one just because of the fact that it's less dead cap.
Yeah.
So I think, and you already got your D tackle. You already got your 2 starting D tackles. So it's not like you're really losing anything in terms of your depth chart. It's probably, I think it'd probably be Williams. It would probably be Jesse James after him. But right now, I probably have to say Nick Williams.
I think Nick Williams, if you cut him, it's around $4 million. You're going to save in cap approximately around there. Avery, do you expect more players to be cut like a Williams or a Jesse James or a Kerryon Johnson? What do you kind of want to see, or what do you expect?
Oh, it's the purge.
Yeah,
it's the purge. We out here. We out here. Hey, what's funny? Y'all said get a running back. And I immediately thought to myself, who else is our running back on that team? And Kerryon Johnson. Now, if you cut him, that's only like $800,000 you save.
Yeah.
So, You gotta find creative ways to cut these players. So I like the Nick Williams cut, even though he was kind of productive towards the end of the season. He was kind of productive. But look, everything goes. We need the cap to be right here, so we at least be operational, be functional. And I think that's anybody can go because it's a whole rebuild. Like he said, Mark Form said, it's time. It's time. Ground up through the draft the right way, and that takes time.
Christian, there's no one's getting tagged. The tag is already passed. The deadline for the tag is already passed. No one got tagged. How much does cutting Jesse James save? Off the top of my head, it's around $3 million, something around there. I don't have the exact numbers on me, but it's approximately there.
It's about $2.5–3 million. Yeah, that's what it is.
Definite purge. I'm on the purge. And look, folks, you have to. There's no choice. Look at what the New Orleans Saints are doing right now. They're purging everybody. I mean, it's Janoris Jenkins gone. This person, Cook's gone. You got to be fiscally responsible, and this is what happens when the old regime signs banned contracts. We can't just cut Trey Flowers. The dead cap will kill us. Vaitai, the dead cap will kill us. So you have to make do with what you can. Let's talk a little bit about this NFL draft coming up, Mark Orem from Orem's Forum. We had a great debate. Who do we take with that 7th pick? Who do we target in the 7th pick? Do we trade back? What? Give me your thoughts.
I got so many thoughts on this, Mike, man. I don't really know, man. This is like one of the first times I've ever been kind of speechless on who they're going to take. Last few years, we've kind of known who they were going to grab. This year, they kind of need a lot, man. They need a lot, and they're at a spot at 7 where they can maybe they can go grab the best defender, Micah Parsons, if he's there. They can get him at 7, or maybe if a quarterback is there, I don't know, man. Rashawn Slater, I really like a Rashawn Slater at 7. Trade back. I got 4 different options, man. 400 different options on what they can do. I'm just not 100% sold on what they're thinking. And I think it's kind of refreshing to actually think like that, because Brad Holmes was just on TV, I think it was today or yesterday, saying he loves every single quarterback in the draft, which I love. That was absolutely awesome. Again, he said it. So he's playing games. I like that. I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback, though. I really don't. But I love his attitude, man. But for me, I'd like to stay at 7 and grab Micah Parsons. I would. I think he's a game-changing linebacker. That won't leave the field. That's me. So
Master Blaster, Lions could check the XFL free agents. That's a good one.
Good, yeah, man.
Avery, I have not heard you. What do we do with that 7th pick? I've never heard from your insight on this. Let me know.
Yeah. So I'm right up there with Mark Forum. Mark Forum. Did I say your name right?
Mark.
Yeah,
Orem.
Mark. Yeah, Orem, brother. Yeah, it's the same thing. Orem Forum. Yeah, it's all good, man.
Yeah, so I'm right up there with you, man. Michael Parsons, man, no doubt about it. I love a linebacker that can coverage. He can flow. Which, what I mean by flow is he can create block sheds straight to the linebacker, straight to the quarterback. He can go sideline to sideline. Is a coverage threat. I know he didn't have any interceptions, but he was always involved with the play. I just like that. I think he's a generational linebacker. I think he's great. Now he got some accusations and stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
But, at 7, if you can't get him and Jamar Chase is right there, who am I? Who am I to say don't take Jamar Chase?
Facts. Go Lions. I'm 100% with you. I wanted Derek Brown last year and a trade back. And Tony Hightower, you are the GM. The 7th pick is up. What are you going to do? I don't know if I heard from you either.
Oh, Trey Lance is there. I'm taking Trey Lance. If Trey Lance is there. Now, if he's not there, I actually might take. See, here's the conundrum. If he's not there, I guess I got to take Slater, because at that point, Waddle would probably be my next favorite player, but I can get receiver later in the draft. Parsons would be on my board, but I think that's a little too high for Parsons. The cornerback isn't a big enough need to take at 7. I guess for me, number 1 would be Lance. Number 2 would be Slater. Lance probably the second most talented, or you could argue the second most talented QB in the draft. Super athletic, big arm. Problem is, super raw. So got to develop him. I heard that Campbell's going to his pro day, so we're going to hear how that goes. But I mean, at 7 in the draft, you're not going to get Wilson and you're not going to get Lawrence. So at this point, you're just rolling the dice. And if you're going to roll the dice on anybody, roll the dice on Trey Lance.
Another thing you should definitely not roll the dice on is subscribe to these channels. We got Chat Sports here, Michigan Football Report, James Yoder. That's my buddy, Infinite Sports Network. Obviously, Noble Sports Entertainment. Subscribe to those channels. And hey, you get information you want to get. When it comes to that 7th pick, folks, I'm looking to trade back. I know, look, that's my number one goal right now is trade back, acquire more draft picks. That's it. I want to acquire more draft picks. I want to have more pieces to build this football team. I do not like the fact that we got 6 draft picks. I don't like it. I want more. I want to move backwards. I think, and if we can't move backwards, I'm taking BPA. Clearly, best player available. And if that's an offensive lineman, let's roll. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to run the football. But I am definitely wanting to move back. Maybe go even to 19. You know, let's get a first pick next year, right? We can move back and get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker, out of Notre Dame.
Draft.
Sit him in that defense and get to work, man. Kyle Pitts. I'm seeing this right now by JGB. Kyle Pitts. He's on the board. He runs a sub. Now, this is hypothetical here. Kyle Pitts runs a sub 4.540. Tony Hightower, do you take him?
Nope.
What about you, Mark Orem from Orem's Forum?
Man, you can't take a tight end at 7. You can't do it again, guys. I know this kid's supposed to be a wide receiver in the NFL, man, but it's, nobody has a crystal ball. Said that this kid's going to absolutely succeed at the wide receiver position. I know he's a monster and he's uncoverable in college. Comparison, man, they're comparing the kid to Calvin, and if you actually watch him, man, he is Calvin-esque out there. Linebackers can't run with him. He just literally muscles away corners and safeties. They just can't cover him. But you can't take a tight end and hope to revert him to a wide receiver at 7, man. We can't do that, man. Can't do it.
What we can do is get those thumbs up. We're at 59. We got 122 in the building. Let's get to 100 likes. Chat Sports, they do watch my stuff. And they look at me cross-eyed. It's no joke. Trust me, I know. They tell me this all the time. So let's get those likes up and try to help a Lions fan out. I know it's not trading back may not be the best solution, and it may be difficult. But I am looking. Look, we got 6 draft picks, and I feel like we need a lot more than 6. And I think, in my opinion, with that 7th pick, there's multiple players you could take. I think that will be available. You could have a Waddle available, Rashawn Slater available. You could have a quarterback available. I think that moving back a little bit, you can still get the talent, but you can get more draft picks. And we've wanted to trade back for years and years. I just feel like we haven't done so, and it's frustrating. Like last year, I felt like we should have traded back if we could have. Now, reports are saying there's nothing there, but if there's a quarterback there, a Trey Lance, or a Justin Fields, and another team, say like the Patriots, are offering a first-round pick next year, go from 15 to 7, I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to do it. What about you Antonio Hightower? Would you take Trey Lance, or would you move back?
Depends on the trade. Depends on the trade to offer at me. If it's like, I'll give you trade back like 10 spots or 11 spots, and I'll give you a first or a second or a first. I'll give you a later first and a first next year. Then I'd really, really have to consider that. Next year's QB class isn't as intriguing to me as this one, but we always see every year that there's always some guy that comes out of nowhere and that just surprises the world. It really would just depend on the deal, because I don't know how much teams really value that number 7 pick. Because like a team like New England that might go like, oh, we want to move for Mac Jones, but they might go, oh, number 7 is a little too rich for him. So it really just depends on the deal for me. If the deal is good enough, if it's like, oh, we'll give you like 2 firsts, or we'll give you like a first and a good second, then I'd probably take the deal. But I just don't know how good the deal is going to look.
Chase, what's going on? Welcome, Don Burt, Thaddeus, Kev'd up. Okay, we got Avery Giovanni here. You got a quarterback sitting there, Justin Fields or whatever some other team covets. You have an opportunity to take that quarterback, or you have an opportunity to trade back. What are you thinking about doing, Avery?
I got something special for you. How about this? We flip Goff to whatever team. We get their first round pick. We draft the quarterback who's ever there. They get that contract from Goff. They're probably ready to win now. Someone like the Redskins or something like that. They inherit that contract and all that stuff you got to deal with him. And we get the quarterback we want, an additional first-round pick that they have. I think we can select a quarterback at 7. I'll be okay with that. You have to go future of the franchise. You want to keep Goff if you want to keep this thing going, because I thought we was trying to keep him to flip him, but it seems like he's going to be our quarterback. I don't know why, but he's going to be our quarterback. So if there's a quarterback there, if I can sit him for 3 years and Goff understands that he's only going to be here for a certain amount of time and we have an open line of communication, I'll do it. Because it got to be. I don't want my guy that I'm going to war with to feel like he felt in his last in LA, yeah.
I feel you, man, because he could feel that way, no doubt about it. Interesting, Kev'd up says, folks, what's interesting in 7 minutes, you guys run the show. It's called the Mailbag segment. Get ready. Hashtag ISN, hashtag NFL, hashtag Lions. If you got questions, we have answers. And if I miss your question, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because this stuff is flying quick. All you got to do is repost it. If I don't, answer it. I'm sure I'll answer it. I'll try to. Or just let me know, hey, I've asked 5 times. Answer it, Mike, and I'll try to get to it. So get ready for that in a couple of minutes. A top 10 pick of a linebacker isn't worth as much as a top 10 offensive lineman. Interesting. Let's debate this, Mark.
Yep.
A top 10 offensive lineman is not worth as a top 10 linebacker, or the opposite of that.
Well, it just all depends on the said player, right? It all depends on the two players. A guy like a Sewell or a Rashawn Slater, you might want over just your average run-of-the-mill linebacker, but this is probably a shot at Parsons. I'm assuming that this is a shot not to draft him, right? I don't think that Micah Parsons is just your run-of-the-mill like linebacker. He's not a 2-down linebacker. He's not going to leave the field. He's a generational talent. He was a rookie. He was a freshman that came into Penn State, led his team in tackles, started one game. He's a guy that can get to the quarterback. He's excellent in zone coverage. He still needs to work on a little bit with his covering skills, but everything else is elite talent. He's an elite talent, and I think he's a game changer on defense. And we do not have anybody on defense that can make a difference. And I think that a guy like Micah Parsons makes a difference on the team immediately. He doesn't leave the field. He will not leave the field if you put him on day one. But it all depends on who the old lineman too is. But I am taking Parsons over a guy like a Slater or a Sewell. Personally, I am.
Make sure you subscribe to Mark Orm from Orm's Forum. He's near 1,000 subscribers, getting close to being paid. I got a question for you, Mark. Rashawn Slater, Penei Sewell, or Micah Parsons? Who would you take?
I've flip-flopped on this, Ben. I'm still taking the linebacker. Especially in our situation that we are in, man. I think you can find a good, serviceable tackle down the road, but I don't think you can find a guy like Parsons in the draft. That's just my opinion, man.
Antonio Hightower, you have those 3 players there. Who would you take?
Oh, easily. I'm easily taking Slater. Next is Sewell, and Parsons would be last. I wouldn't even take Parsons at 7. But here's the thing: his what he said is very true, because it's a talk about positional value in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Would you take a fullback at top 10?
Would I take a fullback in the top 10? No, I'm
That's
not.
irrelevant, though. That's completely irrelevant.
No,
That's completely irrelevant, bro.
No.
What do you mean?
Here's
a fullback.
Here's my point. You wouldn't take a fullback top 10. Here's my point, though. You wouldn't take a fullback top 10 because they're not a point enough in the NFL to be taken top 10. Same thing with linebackers. Partially, here's another thing. why offensive linemen so consistently taken in the first round? Because the value, the talent in the offense in the NFL right now at offensive line is very bad. We keep talking about Rick. Like, let's talk about last year. We talking about how trash Rick Wagner was, right? He left, went to the Packers, and was the starting right tackle. The Packers have a really good offensive line. Why was Rick Wagner, who was trash, starting for them? Because he's an average offensive lineman. Offensive line is a very scarce position in the NFL. Teams are scavenging, running to get any sort of player. You saw the Chiefs, how they looked in the Super Bowl when their offensive lineman went down. Teams can't develop offensive linemen. A lot of the top talent is just not that great anymore. It's the reason teams keep recycling the same guys. Why teams keep going for guys like Xavier Su'a-Filo or Greg Robinson, who was a holding machine. We saw him in Detroit. Dude kept getting signed because offensive line is a very scarce position. So if you can get them, you got to get them where you can because it's a huge dip. It's a huge dip later in the draft. Linebacker. Now, if you're talking about like a Will who can cover multiple positions, it's a little bit more of a deeper conversation. But if you're offering me a top offensive lineman, give me a top offensive lineman every single time.
And yes, it's the mailbag segment, folks. It's time for you to run the show. Eric Fisher was released today. I just seen that by JGB and Schwartz. Avery, Eric Fisher, Schwartz. Should the Lions attempt to make a play?
You know what? I'm a parlay that with what was last discussed. I think that if you want Fisher, he has to come on some type of hometown discount. Now he's like 6 weeks removed from an Achilles injury. So right there, even if he comes back, he's not going to be 100%. You got to pay attention to who's going to get paid. You know, like if you put him up against a Rashawn Slater, people are going to look at you like, oh, you should have got Rashawn Slater because he's already coming off an injury. And he's a hometown hero and everything, but he might not take that discount. This is Detroit where we overpay and overstay. So at the end of the day, man, I would look at him. I would discuss the possibility. But if it's not at the price point, that's going to be within budget. And if it's not at the scheme fit, I think they was running a zone scheme before. Something Jonathan Taylor would be great. You know, I think that would be great in. But now I think they're going to be a power running team. I think they're going to be smash mouth football up the middle, up the gut, and that would benefit someone like your boy in free agency. So it's really definitely a scheme fit for me. But if he's getting paid top dollar and we sign one player, no, I'm not with it, man.
PC Payload with the first question here, and make sure you guys get your questions ready. #ISN. If we stay at 7. Do we go defense, offense, or best player available? In my opinion, best player available regardless. Look, we got so many needs and holes. I think BPA is the best way to go. And if that's an offensive lineman, take the offensive lineman. If that's the linebacker, take the linebacker. With that said, if it's me, I'm doing best trade available. And I'm trading back. No doubt about it. We have a super chat. Thank you so much, Travis Doyley says, should the Lions look to target Malcolm Butler in free agency? Antonio Hightower, should we target Malcolm Butler?
Nah. Malcolm Butler, no. First of all, no more Patriots. Second of all, did y'all see that guy with the Titans? He was the Super Bowl hero with the Patriots. And the Titans, he was a liability. He's just not that good. And no, I wouldn't sign him. And I don't even think he's better than, he could be better than Okuda or Aurier, but I would kind of expect that when you're that old. But nah, don't even sign him. You don't even need him.
ISN, what is Goff's cap hit? And it's already deducted from Lions availability as of now. They're actually they're trying to calculate it now. It will come on the books as soon as the trade is quote unquote official, once the new league year starts. So they're accounting for it now, and I think it's around 25 million. I think
it's 27 million the first
27
year.
27 million.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. So they're already accounting for it right now. So just kind of expect that's kind of what's taking place. It's just not official until the new league year happens. TM says #ISN. What would be the best trade we can get for? What would have been the best trade we could get for Kenny Galladay? Avery, What if? What do you think? What would have been the best trade we could get for him?
I mean, you got to look at the particulars. What do you want and what do you need? If you did like a NBA type of deal where you sign and trade a guy away, you're trading away a dude who's 1,300 yards, obviously not last year, but the year before last was a Pro Bowler. You're going to either ask for a second and a player or a first round pick, and I think teams are going to have the same strategy this year. I really don't agree with the whole sign and trade. I know there's a whole like subsection of America out there, or Lions America, where they
America,
right? We just think we could just sign somebody and trade them away quick, like it's the NBA. Sometimes that doesn't work out in our favor. So plus you have to feel for the player. But the best trade I could see, to answer that person's question, the best trade I would see is a late first round pick to a team that's about to win now, like a Baltimore, late first round pick, and maybe a fourth pick or something that they didn't need, just as a throw in.
John, I don't know if this is a question, but I'll make it a question. It says, I would love to see the Lions trade from 7 to 15 to 28, take BPA and acquire first round next year or a couple second thirds. I'm with you fully. I would love to trade back and go back there. There's quality. See, I think we need a lot of defensive help, and I think the defense really starts in the second half of the first round. You can get a Gregory Rousseau, Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah, Barmore, Christian Barmore. I mean, there's a lot. You got Nick Bolton, who could be an end of the first round draft pick linebacker. Jabril Cox going to fall in the second round, probably around there. If you could pick up some extra picks, there is so much value back there for defense. And hey, I love defense. And if they don't want to go defense, Rondale Moore, I think he's a pretty good wide receiver. I mean, you're talking about Bateman back there too. So if you can get some extra picks, you're looking at really solidifying a lot of needs. Okay, yeah, Riley Reef. Would you sign Riley Reef back to the offensive line, Mark Oram?
Well, again, he's probably going to be too expensive for Detroit. If they could somehow get him back for a reasonable price, it'd be nice, man. You could throw him at guard or tackle. He'd be an instant upgrade, but I just think his price tag is going to be way too high. I think I'm not sure what he was making in Minnesota. I think he was making an average of 11 or 12 million a year. That's just kind of a guess. But if you can get him at a few million less, I don't know. Make a call, man. See what happens, because he'd be an instant upgrade. That's for sure.
The Great Barrier Reef, what I loved hearing him when he got drafted, is the greatest story of all time, is when he was in college, he got buck naked and he ran through the college. As soon as I heard that, I thought of the movie Old School, and I said, I love this guy. This guy's a great player. We got to have him. Anyone running through the quads naked is my guy. You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy, Blue. Could Goff lead the Lions to the playoffs with a true number one, which he's never had? He went on to a Super Bowl. Well, yeah, he's led the Los Angeles Rams to a Super Bowl. So, but I think it has nothing to do with wide receiver. I think you need to have defense. I mean, right now with the Detroit Lions, we ain't got a defense, right, Avery?
No, we don't got nobody.
I'm sorry. I gotta be on my Spirit of Detroit stuff right now. I'm so sorry. If you think he needs a true number one, you have not been here for the last 15 years, okay? You have not seen wide receiver taken 5 times in 6 years. You have not seen the stuff we have seen. Calvin Johnson and Stafford, best connection, in the 2010s, still couldn't get there. You need defense. You need something like almost embedded in the team where their idealistic is defense, not throwing the ball 600 times like we had before. We need this built differently. So that's my take on it.
Look how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won this Super Bowl. Tom Brady gets a lot of credit. But if you watch this Super Bowl, what we see, that defensive line, they got after Patrick Mahomes like I've never seen before. You got to have defense, folks. You got to have a defensive line. You got to build that defense up. And the Lions, the closest we came to winning a playoff game, we should have won it, is when we had the number 2 defense in the NFL 2014. We had Ndamukong Suh. We had that defensive line. We were getting at it. You got to have defense. And I think that if we could build a dominant defense, I think that the Lions can really do something and run the football, by the way. You do that, you stop the run, you bite kneecaps off, just like I'm seeing right here from Ryan. We want those kneecaps, no doubt about it. That's what we
that's
do.
right, man.
No problem, man. No problem. Let's see. ISN. What about Corey Davis? I like Corey Davis. I think he's a number one wide receiver. The issue is I just don't think we got the money, Mark.
I don't think we do either, man. He's probably going to be – he's over $10 million, I'm going to assume, man, 10, 12 million. Yeah. He's never really been – he did have a breakout year this year for Tennessee, but he's never been consistent. His first couple of years were just kind of like, wow, is this guy even going to be like a starter? But he balled out last year. He did have some inconsistent games too as well, but no, we can't pick up a guy like that. He's out of our price range. We're not going to be able to afford a guy like Corey Davis. It would be nice to bring him on, but not for that type of cash.
145 in the building. Let's get to 100 likes. We're 18 away. That would be fan-freaking-tastic. Do you think it'd be better or cheaper to kick Big V inside a guard or draft a right tackle? First off, I think that if that's his best position, I don't care how much he is, we got to use him because we're paying this dude money.
Yeah.
Put him at guard if that's where he's at.
Well, that's the thing, right, Mike? That's the thing about Big V. He was a train wreck at right tackle. He can't catch up with those speed defensive ends coming off the edge. He was better suited as a guard, and I know it's a lot of money for a guard, but that's where he's better suited. He's a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker. I think he needs to be moved inside, but I don't want to see him at right tackle. Honestly, I really don't.
I just want to see him used because I want him. I'm not gonna lie, man. I want him cut next year. Yep. I don't even want him on the team. But when you're paying the way we're paying this guy, he needs to be on the field. Antonio Hightower, I heard you make that sound. When you make that sound, you want to say something.
Oh, that was about something else. But yeah, we definitely got a Big V. I mean, I guess you can put him at guard because he's not better than Crosby at tackle. That's one of the few Bob Quinn moves. As much as I was with a lot of his moves, that move I was kind of like, but Crosby's already better, man. I don't know why. Yeah. Why you signed him? And you signed the guy who had his best year as a guard for the Eagles. That was his best year as a guard. I never understood that move.
Got a great question and a super chat from Travis Dooley. I appreciate you, bro. He says, thoughts on drafting Amon St. Brown and Dez Newsome. Avery, what do you think about Amon St. Brown and Dez Newsome?
You know, I've only seen a couple things from Amon St. Brown, but I'd look at it a little more. I can't make an informed decision. I'm not about to be up here telling nobody. You know, I only seen a couple things because I've been enamored with Michael Parsons, and I've been enamored with Farley as well. So I'm not about to sit up here I know what I'm talking about when I say Amon St. Brown. I seen one highlight tape, and I was like, okay, old dude, cool, but I haven't done no research, you know. So
I think he would be a good value pick if you can get him in the third round. We got 2 third-round draft picks. But again, it just depends what we do with the first 2 picks, right? I'm not going to take a wide receiver in the first round and take one in the third round. I don't think that'd be too smart. But if we decide to get a wide receiver in the third round, I think Amon St. Brown would be good. He's got that speed. I think he could benefit. It sucks because I don't think he's like a true number one, right? No, we have Tyrell Williams. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, he's more of a slot receiver, I'd say. Amon St. Brown. Yeah, he's got some good size to him, though. 6'1", about 195, 200 pounds. Quick, you know what I mean? 5-star recruit coming out of high school, man. The guy had all the tools. He's a good wide receiver, but I think he would fit. He would fit more at the slot.
TMF says, what would be the best defensive end the Lions could pick up in the draft and or free agency? What sucks about this draft is there's not a Chase Young there. Antonio Hightower, how could we fix this solution for defensive end?
There is no Chase Young, but there is a Jalen Phillips, the best defensive lineman coming out of Miami. Now, there's a caveat with him. He retired for a year. Came back, has concussion problems. A lot of people think he's the number one edge, but their problem with him is his injury history. Like I said, he came from I think it was UCLA. Doctors, he's having concussion problems. Doctors told him to retire. He retired. He got a second opinion. came back last year for Miami, dominated, looked like their best defensive lineman, but Greg wasn't playing. But he was still better than Greg. I would love to get him. You don't take him at 7. You can get him later, especially without the injury problems. The only problem with him is I don't want him to end up like he gets in the NFL, he gets a concussion. He's like, oh yeah, it's time to go. Because a lot of the times when you get one concussion, that turns to 2, that turns to 4. Sometimes it turns to a pattern. So that's the only thing I'm really worried about, because on the field, his tape, best in the class.
And when you're talking about him specifically, I actually have a video I'm creating right now with the top 10 defensive prospects the Lions should take a look at. And he is part of that, no doubt about it. Huge shout out to Frog Crop. Hey, fellas, have you guys heard of anything about Marvin Jones and what Campbell and Holmes have to do? The tricky, because the better coaching in the house makes some players better. So evaluating is very important. When it comes to Marvin Jones Jr., this is what I know. He's not going to be in Detroit. He's going to probably go to a team like the Rams. He wants to be a competitor. He wants to be on a competitive team, and he's not going to be in Detroit. And so it's definitely tricky to get this wide receiver, but his days in Detroit seems to be over, Frog Crop. Mark, do you agree?
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about Marvin Jones. I know he was kind of put on Instagram. He'd like to go to LA. A couple guys want to go to the Rams, but the Rams are in cap purgatory as well. They have no money at all. Mm-hmm. So I can't really see them adding anything right now. They're going to have to cut a bunch of players. And I think they're kind of doing that. So I haven't heard anything about Marvin Jones. I just know that he'll probably go to a team and he'll get paid handsomely, and we can get a comp pick for him next year, hopefully.
Yes, we love these comp picks. Look, if Aquara gets a big contract, if Galladay gets a bug contract, if Marvin Jones get a contract, comp picks coming our way, and that makes me happy. What's the importance of comp picks, Avery? Tell the people, because we haven't had one in 5 years. Why it's important for this team?
Right. Well, when you generally when you're losing a lot and you get free agents and you're becoming this farm for everybody in the league, you have to get a compensatory pick to stay competitive. And usually you can get a 3rd round pick for this. The thing about it is, when we did receive compensatory picks, they were bad picks. So now we have to get those picks, make the right player, do the right assessments, and pick the right player. So with that, we have to do a better job, because Bob Quinn had, I think, 1 compensatory pick in like 5 years or so. And he spent that on someone that I don't even think is with the team. So we just have to do a better job of drafting and seeing who fits the mold of what we want. And when you look at Galladay leaving, Galladay was a 3rd round pick. Mm-hmm. That's so important. So when you're getting a compensatory pick for a Galladay who's a Pro Bowler, who's an amazing talent, you can get a new Galladay. It's possible. So that's the importance of a compensatory pick.
And in the old rules, you could never trade compensatory picks, but now you can. So you can use it as trade bait. Mm-hmm. And 3rd round picks are no joke. They're pretty big. If you ask a lot of NFL owners and GMs, 3rd round picks a big deal. #ISN. What about Jabril Cox and Chase Surratt being drafted by the Lions? I hope we draft 2 linebackers, possibly draft 2 linebackers. I love Jabril Cox, Mark. I think this dude's a beast.
Yeah, I think he's solid as well, man. That's a really good linebacker. Chaz Surratt's a guy, too, that I kind of like, but he's more of a project. Guy that used to play quarterback, actually, and moved over to linebacker, man. He's a playmaker, though. 2 of those linebackers for sure. You might be getting those, like a guy like Jabril in maybe the 2nd round. Surratt might go maybe the 3rd round. I'm not too sure. He could go in the 2nd, I guess, but it's 2 linebackers I do like, though, for sure.
And Tony Hightower, those linebackers, I know you have a good assessment of them.
It'd really be interesting to get Jabril Cox. I mean, the Lions need any linebacker type they can get, and a guy that can cover at all is very important to this team. We haven't had a linebacker that can cover. Only one we even got close to that is Jamie Collins. The other one are basically negatives in coverage. Like, the amount of times I see Jarrett Davis leave a guy wide open in coverage, it's just crazy. Let's see him. Chaz Surratt, pretty athletic. Sage Schwartz brother, wide receiver. Yeah, I would love to see him too. Probably I think from what I heard, he's supposed to be going around late second, third. That would be interesting. It depends what players are available around him, because I don't think the Lions are going to go to edge around 1, and I would love to see an edge around 2 if there's a good player available. But yeah, I would love to see both of them at the right pace, because the Lions need any off-ball linebackers they can get.
What I'd like to see is you all subscribe to the Gridiron Blitz, Troxel Sports Talk, definitely Mark Orem from Orem's Forum, and Two Tone Zone. They are part of ISN, where we are trying to build a new era of sports and give an idea to the concept of letting fans who not are just fans, but they've played the game, and give an idea of what they think, not what the mainstream media thinks. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we need 9 more likes to get to 100. Do you guys agree with Spielman saying modern teams build from the outside in? I disagree. Avery, this is an interesting question.
I'm gonna be real. I don't see no teams building from the outside in. Now you can make a joke. You can make a joke about the Saints. Oh, they built from the outside. No, they had an offensive line, defensive line for years. You can even say that. Go back, say 2001 Rams. They were the greatest show on turf. They had an offensive line, defensive line. So what he's saying to me, I don't know what he's talking about, and that's why I was concerned he got the job in the first place, because he'd be doing this a little too much with the media. So, if he can show me proof, I'll listen to him. I'll hear him out. I think he's amazing talent. Dude was in Detroit for years. He's a staple, just like Barry and Calvin. But as far as that comment goes, no, we ain't on that.
No.
Hey, appreciate you, Tim Evans. I see you. Here's a question here. When AP retires and the Lions don't stick with Kerryon as a backup, what would be a running back backing up Swift? We've had a massive debate about this today. Mark Orem from Orem's Forum, the backup to Swift. What should we do? Draft? Free agency? Maybe a free agent who didn't get drafted? Backup running back. What do you think?
Oh, listen, man, I don't want to draft a running back. We already have to take a wide receiver in this draft. We might have to take a tackle. You know what I mean? We might have to take a tackle. I'm leaning more towards defense in the draft. So if I'm going to grab a running back, I'm grabbing a first, like a 1-year guy, 1 or 2 years, grabbing a guy like a Mike Davis or even like Carlos Hyde, man, like they talked about today, and sticking him as a backup for Swift, man, because I just don't think we have the luxury of grabbing a running back right now. We already have a number 1 wide running back, okay? I know he needs some help. It's obvious, but I'm not taking one in the draft. I'm grabbing one in the free agency, a guy like a Mike Davis or Carlos Hyde or something like that. So, yeah, free agency for me.
Do you see Detroit signing Kenny Vaccaro, that he's been released by the Tennessee Titans? Also, do you see them go pass rush in free agency and make the D-line more dynamic? Antonio Hightower, Kenny Vaccaro, and defensive line. Do you see that in free agency?
I could see D-line. I pray to God they don't sign Kenny Vaccaro, but I could definitely see D-line. I think they should try to address some D-line. Probably go for a bunch of just go for some low risk, high reward guys. I forget the one guy, D tackle, played for the Cowboys, 6'7". We was talking about him a while ago. I keep forgetting his name. But
me too. Yeah.
But yeah, just low risk, high reward guys. Also, please don't go for Kenny Vaccaro.
Please.
I just don't know with that man.
I believe they're going to go for players generally that are not just cheap, but I think they're going to have connections to our coaching staff. You can see Saints players, Rams players. I really think that's kind of the route they're going to go. And I know we're going to say we just went from the New England way. This is going to be a little bit different, folks. The players we picked up for New England were not good. So that's the big difference. And their contracts were long. I think he's going to be like 1 year, 2 year deals type things going on here. Huge shout out to Travis Doyley, Super Chat. Thoughts on drafting Jonathan Cooper out of Ohio State defensive end? Always producing good, and brushes, it seems like. What do you think about that, Mark?
Hey, man, I'm all for defensive end help. We need it. Cooper could be a guy that could be in the sights for sure. You can get to the quarterback. Yeah, for sure, man. Those Ohio State product, those guys, man, they produce on the field, man, especially defensive-wise. And we need him to maybe kick Okuda in the butt a little bit right there. So why not, man? I like it. We need all the help we can get.
D says, I'm being real. I listen to a lot of other teams, blogs, and NFL as a whole. I think Detroit sports shows are some of the less knowledgeable shows I listen to, not you, MicroMike. Well, hey, I appreciate that. I'm not sure what shows you listen to, but like we try to bring a little bit of knowledge here. TA Noble Sports, he's not on here. He's their scout guy. He played the game at a very high level. He was an all-state running back, all-pro, so he's very good when it comes to looking at film of prospects. We got former players on here that played, and so it's important to look at a little different perspective, just being a fan, right? So you got to look at a different perspective here. So that's kind of what we like to bring here at ISN. And it's not just Lions fans. We got guys from Washington and Tennessee Titans. We have Chicago's and Packers fans on. So it's important to get a different perspective. No doubt about it. AP was just on the McAfee show talking about two teams that were interested. Interesting. We'll see where he lands. Maybe he goes to Tampa Bay, right? Who's the backup quarterback? If not certain, should the Lions draft one in the later rounds? Avery, backup quarterback. Looks like we tried to trade Chase Daniel.
You know what? That ham sandwich going to be good when we get it. You know, when we get that trade.
It is.
That's going to be a good ham sandwich, man. But I think the backup, we need a capable backup. And I want someone that, you know, is young. I'm sorry. I just want somebody young. And right now, I would go quarterback. You know, I have a tier system. If I know no good quarterback is going to be left there at 7, but if there is, I would draft him. And if Michael Parsons is gone, I would draft him for sure because I need a quarterback of the future. That's someone I can groom, someone Goff can educate and teach. That's what I would go with it. If I get a dude that's 35 years old that's just sitting on the bench, and no, I'm not with that at all, man. I really try. I really try to like bend my ideas, but I need a young I need the future. I'm looking for the future. So
I'm with you, man. I like to have the young quarterback, Chase McBurger Daniel. He can leave us. I will love that half-eaten pizza we get for him. I think that'll be great. I think Brad Holmes, if he gets a conditional 8th-round pick, which doesn't exist, he should be GM of the year. Mark Orem, what do we should do with this backup quarterback?
Well, I don't want a quarterback at 7, man. If we're going to go for a quarterback like later on the rounds, I like that kid, Jamie Newman. I like Jamie Newman maybe for a developmental quarterback. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be like the starter or anything, but he'd be a guy that maybe you can grab. He's 6'3", he's 235 pounds. He's a big boy. He can run. He's got an arm, you know. But he'd be a late-round pick. He'd be like a 4th or 5th-round pick, man. But I like to go young, too, as well, like Avery said. I don't want to get a veteran in here. We already got the veteran in Goff, even though he's a young vet. I think we need to go young, man, and develop somebody. And if you get a guy like a Jamie Newman, you can it doesn't mean he's your guy in the next couple of years. You can always draft another quarterback. But if they do that, I like to go get a guy late if they're going to do that and grab a Jamie Newman out of Wake Forest. I kind of like him. That
would be a decent backup role. And I'm always I believe that you need to get a developmental guy like a David Blau would be a better option than Chase Daniel. There's no future for Chase Daniel, right? So get a developmental guy, even if it's a late round pick, right? It's a better future than Chase Daniel, period. We all know what we got with him. We got hamburgers, and ain't even good hamburgers. Travis Doyley with the super chat. Bring back Dan Orlowski as a backup quarterback again so he can run out of the end zone again. I can get that safety. Look, we're trying to get a safety in this draft. We're not trying to get a safety in a game. I'd like to get Javon Holland or somebody else, but I'm not wanting to lose 2 points or have another team gain 2 points. Folks, we've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes, and that's how long the show goes for. I appreciate everybody coming on here. Appreciate all the super chats. I appreciate all the questions. That's what it's for. You guys run the show. You got questions. And again, I like it when we talk about prospects that are not just first-round picks. They could be undrafted rookies. It's always important to look upon everything. But we'll close this show out. Antonio Hightower, what do you got to say to the folks? Good. Yes. Mark Oram, what do you got to say to the folks?
I just want to say thanks a lot, man, for OPP. It was fun again. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Thanks for coming on, Avery, man. It was awesome meeting you, bro. Yeah, man, I'm going to drop some content. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to have a video coming out. So thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot, Antonio. Thanks, Mike. It's all good, buddy.
Avery Giovanni. Folks, again, his link to his channel is literally on the comment section. I pinned it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hey, and we got a super chat. It says, appreciate you all. Ryan, well, I appreciate you, man, for dropping that in there. And God bless you. I really appreciate it. No doubt about it. You are MVP. Avery Giovanni, what do you got to say to the folks so we close this bad boy out?
I'm down with OPP. I just got to say, man, I appreciate you bringing me on. Mike Forum, Mark Forum, I appreciate you as well, man. Orms Forum. You guys are really like the headhunters of doing this, man. I really appreciate that. To the folks, man, my channel, Avery Giovanni, Spirit of Detroit podcast. I'm a little more cursy on there, but you know, I try to keep try to have some history, some actual football knowledge, because I heard that comment they said, and that's not true. You guys actually be spot on most everything y'all be saying. And, just enjoy yourselves, stay safe. Everybody just stay safe. And I appreciate being on.
Hey, I appreciate everyone getting on. This was a great show. Antonio Hightower, are you back?
Yes, sir. My mic was disconnected.
Okay, buddy. Make sure you close this bad boy out. What do you got to say?
It was nice coming back with you guys, and I haven't been here for a while. There's a lot of stuff going on. I got kind of busy, but it's great to be back on OPP, especially talk about this draft stuff. Been watching the draft I've been watching this draft since the beginning of last year's draft, man. I already knew he wasn't going nowhere. So yeah, I'm just ready to talk. I'm really excited to talk this draft stuff, guys. It's fun being on with you guys today.
No doubt about it. Appreciate everyone coming on. Make sure, again, you subscribe to everybody on the panel here. The link for Avery is in the section there on the comment section. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Chat Sports. Hey, News Break. I'm on News Break. Lions Talk by Chat Sports. So go ahead and get on there and get it done. With that said, folks, hey, I appreciate everyone getting on. And I'm going to leave you with this.